So I had to look at the motion that she filed with the court. She does, at a couple of points in the motion, say that she is not relevant to the divorce case because she alleges it was an affair that Jocelyn Wade had with one of Nathan Wade's friends that irretrievably broke the marriage. But she also says, to your point, that Jocelyn Wade is part of a conspiracy with the Trump organization to go after her, and they're using discovery as a vehicle to harass her. Now, when you take a look at it at the Big Bethel AME Church the other Sunday, she claimed this was all about racism. Now she's saying it's a big Trump conspiracy. So which is it?
All right, my friends, get ready to free your mind because it's showtime. J.R. Duke's back with you. This Fani Willis story is getting deeper and deeper, and Fani, the Fulton County DA, is getting in more and more trouble, to put it mildly. Yesterday, the court up in Cobb County, which is just north of the Atlanta area, has for now put a temporary hold on a subpoena for her to testify in her lover's, Nathan Wade's, divorce case. I have a great video for us today. Let's dive into the video right now, and we will talk about it as we go forward.
All right, Sandra, a judge has just granted Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis a temporary stay in her fight to avoid being deposed in her alleged lover Nathan Wade's divorce case. Wade, of course, is the special prosecutor that Willis tapped to oversee the Trump case, and the two traveled together. Calls continue for both Willis and Wade to recuse themselves from prosecuting former President Trump and his 18 co-defendants, with some of those charged calling for the case to be thrown out entirely. One of those people is the former president. Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor and a Fox News contributor. So, Jonathan, she is not out of the woods yet in terms of this subpoena to be deposed in the Jocelyn Wade, Nathan Wade divorce case. The judge today ruled that he wants to wait for an evidentiary hearing to take place on January the 31st into the Nathan Wade divorce case, and then he'll make a decision. Which way do you think this is going to go?
Well, I think this is a logical decision by the court. He's just basically freezing the action until he gets all the evidence in front of him. But the damage is already done for Willis. And in many ways, she's really magnifying that damage with her move. She filed a motion before the court that attacked the estranged wife of her alleged lover as an adulterer and a political conspirator. It was the worst possible tact that she could have taken. I mean, she could have just said, I'm not relevant. She could have said, deposition is not needed. And instead, she did this full-on attack. And that only raises further questions. I mean,
I totally agree with him on this point. Exactly. He's spot on. Because why, if she's innocent, if she did not have an affair with this attorney, Nathan Wade, why is she so emotional about it? Why is she going so heavily at this man's soon-to-be ex-wife? I mean, let's call it what it is. This woman, Fani Willis, has some serious problems, and she has never, to date, came out and said, hey, I did not have an affair with this Nathan Wade. But we all know what's going on. We all know the truth.
You have the original decision that she made, which in my view is deeply unethical, in hiring someone that she had an alleged intimate relationship with. But she compounded that afterwards in her response. It's clear that Mr. Wade and Willis herself are undermining the case for her office. And so she's putting their interests ahead of the office. That's the very thing that conflict of interest rules are meant to avoid.
So I had to look at the motion that she filed with the court. She does, at a couple of points in the motion, say that she is not relevant to the divorce case because she alleges it was an affair that Jocelyn Wade had with one of Nathan Wade's friends that irretrievably broke the marriage. But she also says, to your point, that Jocelyn Wade is part of a conspiracy with the Trump organization to go after her, and they're using discovery as a vehicle to harass her. Now, when you take a look at it at the Big Bethel AME Church the other Sunday, she claimed this was all about racism. Now she's saying it's a big Trump conspiracy. So which is it?
Right. And my point is that she should have just ended where she began in that motion and just say, I'm not relevant. I'll do what you ask me to do, but what I have to share is not going to be material to the outcome of this case. And instead, she went to this conspiratorial argument, and she's called anyone raising these questions racist. Well, there are experts on both the left and the right who've said that she and Wade should recuse themselves. And in many ways, it's ironic, right? She accused Trump of not listening to the legal experts about the law and the election. She's doing the same thing. I mean, you have an overwhelming view that this conflict of interest is undermining the case.
Man, is he spot on this particular point. One of the biggest criticisms that Fani Willis has had against Donald Trump is allegedly, she points out in her pleadings that, hey, Donald Trump should have listened to the legal advice he was given. He was told by his lawyers, you cannot do ABC. Well, guess what? Fani Willis is now doing the exact same thing. She is acting unethically. She's acting illegally. She's committing, in my opinion, what can only be called honest service fraud. We'll have to see. Right now, it's all allegations, but let's be honest about it. It's piling up quickly.
Whenever that view comes to the forefront, most prosecutors would say, all right, I need to take myself out of this equation to protect the interest of my office. Instead, she's calling everyone racists and political conspirators, which is not helping her case.
So the judge has ordered that the record in the divorce case can be unsealed. And we know that Jocelyn Wade, Nathan Wade's estranged wife, has submitted in her filing to the court bank records which show Nathan Wade bought plane tickets for both him and Fani Willis to various locations. Now, I don't know if she's putting that in there to say that this was a torrid affair that was going on for a long, long time. But the fact that this money is being used, that is being paid to Nathan Wade by Fulton County for his services, is being used to buy plane tickets for getaways. What does that suggest?
Well, whatever it suggests, it's not good, is it? I mean, this is fairly common in a divorce proceeding for one of the parties to say that the other party has been using money in ways that are sort of deleting the account or moving value from common property. In this case, the other woman just happens to be the district attorney. But for Willis, it's a much more serious problem. The Department of Justice has prosecuted people who've accepted airplane tickets as alleged kickbacks. Now, I think she'll say, look, this was just a personal relationship. But she's got more questions to answer, and she's not doing it by calling people racists and conspirators.
So real quick, supporters of Willis say that Wade should step away, but that she should stay on the case. But she's the one who's in charge. If anybody steps away from the case, shouldn't it be her?
Yeah, look, at the end, I think I'm skeptical that they're going to terminate the case, that the judge is going to throw the case out. She might be able to get away with removing Wade, but this still remains an office under her direction. And the question is how much damage she has done and she is doing with this campaign of hers to try to retain control.
All right.
Folks, this case is over. This case should be terminated immediately. I agree with Mr. Turley. I do not know if the judge has the ability and he wants to go through the criticism right now of terminating this case outright, but this case is over. There's no way ethically that Fani Willis or Nathan Wade can go forward with this case. Fani Willis was supposed to be the expert of RICO law in the jurisdiction that she's operating in there in Fulton County. However, she has proven that she is nothing more than a political hack who apparently is committing crimes by essentially setting up a scheme to enrich her boyfriend and then by proxy enriching herself. She's enriching herself by paying her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, a super huge amount of money. Published reports say up to 2/3 more than what she has paid any of the other so-called special prosecutors. And remember, in front of that AMA or AME church the other day, she said, hey, I paid all my prosecutors the same. And that's a bald-faced lie. I've seen the documentation and the pleadings. It's just a lie. Again, we'll have to wait until all the evidence comes out, but she keeps digging the hole. Fani, if you're in a hole, take advice from me, stop digging. You brought this unbelievably nutty, crazy case because you're engaging in election interference. You're trying to stop Donald Trump from being the next president of the United States, and this has backfired in your face. You should have never have done this. And, you know, folks, this goes to the old saying, those who are casting stones should not live in a glass house. Fani, your house is what it is, and it's crumbling down. Now, my friends, at this point, the judge in Cobb County did not necessarily say Fani does not have to testify in her boyfriend, her lover's divorce case. At this point, he just simply basically postponed it. He wants Nathan Wade's deposition to be taken first, and then he will decide whether or not Fani Willis has to testify. But I can assure you this, in most divorce cases that I've ever seen, there's no way in the world that the lover of your spouse is not going to have to be testified at some point, especially when apparently, according to the pleadings filed by his soon-to-be ex-wife, she's accusing Nathan Wade of taking a ton of money and hiding it from her. She has accused him of starting new attorney businesses and basically starting to shift the sands, if you will, to hide the sausage, to hide the money. Again, we'll have to see where this all plays and how it plays out, but it does not look good for Fani Willis or Nathan Wade. Folks, this case needs to be terminated. It needs to be put to bed. There's definitely some civil crimes, some actual criminal crimes going on here, and not on the part of the defendants, on the part of the prosecution under the tutorage of DA Fani Willis. As I always say, my friends, keep that mind free and never give up. Until next time, I am J.R. Dukes.